the last time you were in Vegas?
What? You want to knock over a casino?
When people think about Las Vegas now, they probably think about the hooker pamphlets, Cirque du Soleil, drunken people in the streets, and gambling. But 20 years ago, people thought about the mafia, lounge singers, and of course, gambling. Oh, and let's not forget there was always boxing thrown in the mix somewhere. But when you think about the artists that are attached to Vegas, other than Elvis of course, you think Sinatra. And this was partly because of a small movie called Ocean's 11. Long before the days of reboots and remakes, in 2001, the iconic Ocean's 11 was remade, and with a studded star cast. So the question remains, is the movie any good? I'm Meffistoe, like, share, and subscribe because this is my review of the movie Ocean's 11.
We need to get Rusty a girl.
There's a women's prison down the road.
As I mentioned, Ocean's 11 is a remake to the 1960s movie of the same name. Back then, it starred Sinatra, Sammy Davis Jr., and Dean Martin, all high-profile actors and entertainers, and they were all linked to Vegas. But the 2001 version is a completely different film. The only things that were left from the old movie was Danny Ocean's name and the fact that he's robbing multiple casinos at the same time and has a big crew.
We're just supposed to walk out of there with $150 million in cash on us without getting stopped?
Yeah.
The story starts as Danny gets out of prison on parole. He is not supposed to leave town, but Danny is not your typical guy, and he never listens to law enforcement. He's not only leaving the state, he's also planning the next job. First person he looks for is Rusty, his trusted friend, who ends up teaching young actors how to play poker.
So how was the clink? Did you get the cookies I sent?
Why do you think I came to see you first?
Rusty is bored, so Danny offers a special job. Rob not only one casino, but 3, and all at once, and all on one night.
You said 3 casinos? These feed into the cages at the Mirage, the MGM Grand, but every dime ends up there.
Rusty reluctantly agrees, and the two head off to find a backer in the form of Ruben. He of course tells them that it's a suicide mission, but he was intrigued enough, so he agreed to fund the robbery just as long as they find a competent crew.
You're gonna need a crew as nuts as you are. Who do you got in mind?
This is where Danny and Rusty go to work. The two recruit all the elements that they need and start forming a plan.
It'll be nice working with proper villains again.
Everybody down! Get it!
They weren't expecting that shit.
And the last piece of the puzzle is completed when a young pickpocket called Linus Caldwell, a son of a former crewmate of Danny's, is put in place.
That's the best lift I've seen you make yet.
The entire crew assembles at Ruben's house, and the plan is laid out. Apparently, the 3 casinos in question all pool their money at one vault underneath the Bellagio Hotel, and that is controlled by Terry Benedict. Terry is not a mobster per se, but he is no slouch, and you do not want to mess with him. He is smart, cunning, intelligent, and he knows the ins and outs of his hotel.
At the end of this, he better not know you're involved, not know your names, or think you're dead because he'll kill you, and then he'll go to work on you.
The crew starts making preparations. They build a mock-up of the vault in order to practice and send Linus on a recon mission, and he quickly discovers the thorn in the operation. Benedict's girlfriend is Danny's ex-wife, Tess.
Tell me this is not about screwing the guy who's screwing your wife.
Ex-wife.
Tell me.
It's not about that.
This causes friction within the crew, mainly with Rusty and Danny, and alters the original plans. The crew aims to hit the vault on a specific weekend with a huge boxing match going on in Vegas for maximum payoff. The security system gets hacked, and a certain individual is placed in a key position in order for the heist to go off.
You scared? You suicidal? Only in the morning.
Every time you hear about a movie that has a star-studded cast, you probably imagine about 3 major Hollywood stars and maybe a few character actors. You probably see some new talent and a cameo or 2. And if you are a person that actually likes the behind-the-scenes stuff, you will probably hear about some clashing of egos. That's what I expect from a production like that. However, Ocean's 11 was different. Almost the entire 11 were actors that you knew and had a career before being intriguing cast. Putting aside the main trio of Danny, Rusty, and Linus, and of course with the exception of Eddie Jameson who played Livingston Dell and Keen Xiaobu who played Yang, all were famous for one thing or another. And what's even more strange, the group got along just fine, even the main stars.
10 says he shorts it.
20.
By the time George Clooney took the role of Danny Ocean, he was already an established actor on TV and film. His problem was the two films before he made this one, Batman and Robin and The Three Kings. Both made money but were universally panned. In Ocean's 11, Clooney completely redeems himself as an actor. He moves from a serious dramatic conversation with his wife Tess to silly banter with the group and of course Rusty.
I hope you were the groom.
Ted Nugent called. He wants his shirt back.
Clooney turned on the charm as if he was channeling old Blue Eyes himself and made this part his own. Brad Pitt playing Rusty was such a great cast. He plays off as a complete opposite to Clooney's character. He is just as smart and in sync with Danny, but he is more goofy and cool as opposed to being slick like Danny. The part worked well for Pitt and allowed him to have a little bit more fun and to be a funny B-side to Clooney's lead straight-laced guy.
Munitions.
Phil Turrentine.
Dead.
No shit. On the job?
Skin cancer.
You send flowers?
Dated his wife for a while.
The big surprise for me when I saw this movie for the very first time was actually Matt Damon. And this is before he went full action Bourne style. This is Matt Damon after Good Will Hunting, Dogma, and the talented Mr. Ripley. But Linus is a completely different entity. A small-time thief who looks up to the big guys like Danny and Rusty, who wants to be a part of things and he wants to be better than his old man.
Last guy they caught cheating in here, he not only sent him up for 10 years, but he had the bank seize his house, and then he bankrupted his brother-in-law's
tractor dealership, I heard.
When you have a lot of people on your cast, there's always a tendency of people not showing their worth. Other than the trio, all the other crew members had things to do or say. It was the constant bickering between the two twins, or Livingston Dell getting lost in the secured section, or Bernie Mac as Frank Catton haggling for a good price on a car.
Did him like a gene.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, just like the Gene.
Man, you got some lovely hands here.
Everyone had a piece in the plan, and it's all intertwined with each other. Even Andy Garcia, playing Benedict, has his moments.
All right, you proved your point. You broke into my vault. Congratulations. You're a dead man.
The only bad thing I can say about this movie in terms of casting is actually Julia Roberts. Yes, she was brought for her star power right after Erin Brockovich, but you could replace her with any other actress and you still get the same results. Roberts as Tess adds absolutely nothing to the role. I watched this movie countless times. When it first came out in the theaters, I was actually employed at a local theater and I watched it numerous times, just for fun. Although it is marked as a crime drama, the comedy and the subtle comedy in this movie is king. I didn't go over a lot of the plot because I don't want to ruin the twists and turns this movie takes, but I will say this: if you have not seen or heard what happens at the end, do yourself a favor and watch this movie. It's beautifully shot, wonderfully written, and the ad-libs that were used and the jabs that made it into the final cut were hilarious. In a way, it is a love letter to everything Las Vegas, and all the elements that you would expect to be there are there. The boxing, the showmanship, the gambling, the mafia, and the magic all are there in this wonderful, wonderful movie that was directed by Steven Soderbergh.
Look, we all go way back, and I owe you from the thing with the guy in the place, and I'll never forget it.
I thank you for watching, and remember, hope is a good thing, maybe even the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. I'll see you on the next video.